Seizings, simply put, could be just said to be the method of securing one object to another. We see a lot of seizings of rope where you've got a tail, main rope, and you want to hold it together, especially in the case where you don't want to make a permanent job of it by putting a splice in it. Some of the other objects you might see around the ship are cleats secured to stays or supports. A fine example of that would be the tack sheets for the main course, secured to the two stanchions near the deckhouse. Aloft, these fellows, Scotsmen, which are used to secured to the shroud and used to protect the shroud covering from the yards when they're swung around, and might tend to want to push against the shroud, thus saving chafe and wear and tear on the serving on the shroud. Another one is this is a small version, but a block where you've got blocks in the rig where the straps around it are seized with an eye. Most of them are wire seizings. The principles involved in we'll be using rope, and using rope are much the same as with wire, except a little more power might be required to secure them. So that's around a block. You might want to, just have a look at the rig, you've got these dead eyes which are secured with the seizing. The lanyards go this way. Another one could be with a fair lead like this, where you have your spliced eye with probably a serving and then protected by canvas with the wooden dead eye in it to take the line through there. Another one would be where you have a spliced eye, but you wish to put protection in here to prevent wear. So you could put, if you've got to keep your splice, then you seize it here. One thing when dealing with thimbles, make sure the thimbles are wider than the diameter of the rope. That one is too small for that rope, and this one here is too small for that rope, but you could probably use it for this one where the sides clear the edge of the line. If you put a shackle in there, they won't wear on here, it'll go past. You could probably even call seizing if you had a spar or pole that was wanting to crack. You could put a seizing over it just to stiffen it up, and or alternatively put another piece of timber along and then seize them together like a splint. Wouldn't recommend it for broken legs. Now, with the seizings, there's three main types. The first is a racking seizing, then a round seizing, and we haven't got one on here, but we'll show it later, and that's just a flat seizing. The purpose of the racking seizing is to pull two lines together. Now, under load, there's a tendency for this to straighten out, putting load on any seizing at this point, so the racking seizing will gives more opportunity to hold. So that's the racking seizing, then followed probably by a round seizing to support it, and the last one will be a flat seizing, which is just a tidying up one to keep the loose end in check. So what we'll do now, we'll set up and we'll do them in order: a racking seizing, then a round seizing, and then a flat seizing. Now, before we start, let's get some tools together. This is the job we're looking at, is to put this hard eye into this rope, like so. Now you need 2 strong points to be able to stretch this out, and we've got one on the left here and one on the right. Then the means of attaching the rope to the strong points, and you can use a strop such as this, which we made in an earlier video, or these little fellows here, a Dutch shackle, or this one here with a wooden cleat in it. Now, other tools include some seizing twine. This happens to be Robolon from the ship. The other types of line, which, just as a matter of comment, for natural fibre you should use natural line, and this here is tarred cord, linen cord, which has been treated with lanolin to act as a preservative, and would be more appropriate to use here, but we'll use the Robolon for this exercise. The next thing we need is of course, our trusty knife. Probably a Swedish Fidz will come in handy. A normal marlin spike for heaving, to assist heaving, a small heaving mallet. Depending on the job, you know, a hammer can be used or whatever, but for this job we'll just use this small one. A pair of vice grips are also handy for holding the line at various stages when you wish to keep tension on, and a small fine wooden wedge may be required. We'll see how that works as we go through the exercise. And another form of puller is this one, which you can use to really heave up your twine as you go. And this spare bar to tension, so you can have a fixed end up here. We'll have the running end down towards the right, and we'll use a Spanish windlass system to put tension into the rope we're working on. But to set up the job, we've got our loop, our eye. We've secured the crown of the thimble to the rope using a constrictor. Along here we put a prusik hitch on this end to tension it, so we've just got to tension it now between the 2 posts. First of all, we'll attach it to the fixed end. We'll just use this Dutch shackle, pass it through there, and probably around it twice. Should hold it right. And the other end, we'll take this wooden bar, pass it through the prusik, push that in close to there, and heave it round. Just pull that round to there, using another piece of line just to secure those. so the bar won't fly out. It's not long enough. I just might put a turn in there. Right, so our job is nice and secure between the two strong points, ready to be worked on. Now to secure the two legs in close to the thimble before we start. You could do this if, especially in wire or something, you might need to use a Spanish windlass to get enough tension to pull it up. But I think for this rope, this will be adequate. And the appropriate uses for a reef knot is just like tying up a parcel and just bearing down on it. So you snip those two off. Now, there are a number of ways of starting this seasoning, and one is we'll do it this way, and another is to middle a line and work two ends, but we'll just deal with this one at the moment. So first of all, we'll secure the end. And the twine here, pass it through there, and just tie a flat thumb knot on the end. Now we're going to be doing a racking seizing here. Pull that out. Put that in the middle. Right, so round, through, around, and through. And again, you'll have to tighten your skein of twine up. Now, tension this. If you want to put a heavy mallet on this now, you could just give yourself a bit more slack. Pull that through. Take your heavy mallet and heave it up. Hold it with your thumb. Round you go. Oops. Now you can trim those ends off. over. Around. And give that another heave up. Which way we go there? Over. Going. If your skein here, it pays to just give that a bit of a pull every now and again. Keep it tight. And heaving back this way to compress your turns. Let's see, we'll just do what do you got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright. Right. Now we'll just do 2 more. One this way and one this way. However, this time we'll half hitch that turn. Now it's a case of just going around and laying a turn in between each of those, not hauling it quite so tight that you split the turns below. half hitch, and now it's a case of doing your frapping turns. So we'll go just pull off enough line for that. That should be enough. This is where a little puller can come in handy. Go the other way. Back. Now, if we put a right, now we have to just pop that in there. So this to make a knot for this. So if you can get your pull up, put him in there. Through loosely, and then I'll go over to the other side. Now, before we do that, I'll just give this a heave up. Oops. Then we'll let's pull that up. And put this on the other side. Through there. And on this side, over here. This way this time. Pull out. That pulls our knot down into the rope and protects it. So we can then release this fellow, and here we have a racking seizing. If you wanted to, you could also, once you've done the first layer across there, you could come back again to put a further wrapping on it to protect it. But that should be adequate, like that. Now we'll have a look at a round seizing. In the first one, there's about 3 fathoms of cord there. We didn't use it all, but it gave us a safe working margin. This time we'll use the same length, but we'll divide it in the middle into 2 skeins. So to start off with, we'll through there, put a half hitch like so. And we'll go the other way. Hang on, getting crossed up here, but never mind. There we go. Go like so. And we'll tuck that one in there for the time being, and then we'll just wind on our turns. There we go. As you do these turns, if you wish, you can put your heaving mallet on them to really tighten them up. Don't worry about the first turns at this stage. We'll cover those when we get to the end. One method could be to, if you really want to tighten your turns, is to put a marlin spike hitch, in the cord as you go round, and you can use that to really tension up the turns rather. As you know, with the marlin spike hitch, just slip it off, round you go, hold it with your thumb, through there, just and when you've got sufficient length, go round and put it down through the middle. You may need to use your puller for this. Or this is where your timber wedge might come in handy. if you can't get this through. Where have I got that knot? Right. And leave that up. Pull that up tight like that. Then you go to the other end and you can then heave this up tight. Remember, a bit of slack in there, so that really tightens those up. So now you're ready for your second layer of turns. So round. These ones are generally heaved as tight as the first layer, otherwise they'll be still quite firm. Use this mark and spike hitch or your heaving mallet to haul these as tight as you're comfortable with. Right, and you come to there, and you can now, where's my, there it is, that you pull up between those. Through there. through the wrong way. And then you've got to come through there, and this one up this way. And you take each one of these in turn, and you can pull that up. Pull that one up, and over here, pull the other one up the same. Right, now what you have to do is tie these two ends, tie a reef knot in the middle there. So we'll pull that one up. You can put it around there like so, and we'll pull that one down. Put this one over the side. See. And bring this one down. Pull that knot down into the centre. heave. And if you want to, you could put a heave on each side, heave a mallet on each side to then really pull it up tight. And when you're finished, it's nicely bedded in there. You might just try. You set it down in there, and then cut these two off. If you wanted to, you could lock off that thumb knot by putting a crown knot on each side, and that would prevent it ever pulling through. So that's your round seizing. My second method, you can start at the same and do the same as the first, but incidentally, this method will also work with the racking seizing. Our third seizing, which we'll put on here, is really just a tidying up seizing. It generally doesn't carry a great deal of load. It can be used here to constrain the end of the loose end from flapping around and getting in the road. So what we'll do, we'll pop him on here. There's a number of ways of starting, but we'll use this one here, which is a slight variation on the earlier one. Just pierce that through there, and you can bring that back and just tuck that down in between the strands. You could, like we did in the first one, tie a knot in it, but this is adequate for this. So you tuck that down in there. It's then a case of laying on your turns. We put the first one on a bit loose. When you pull that up, it will bind your starting turn. Again, you can really strengthen these turns by using your marlin spike hitch, i.e. round back through and going around. So you can put quite a bit of pressure on and pull your turns in. The beauty of the marlin spike hitch is then you just slide out the spike and it comes free. Now, when you've put, you can see there's enough turns on, you can then prepare to do your frapping turns. If you push your fiddle wedge through the gap, then feed the end back through. The main thing is to get it to be up as tight as possible. Just get up there, and then you can bring the other end up through here. And use the heaving mallet there to just haul it in, take that out. Back through here again. And through here. Again, use your heavy mallet to aim up. Right, now we'll just rotate this up here. Now we'll tie our knot, going with our oh, hang on. Oops, wrong way. Got to go inside out and outside in. This is the inside out, pull it back, and then outside in. So we've got to go in through here. And we'll just nip that off and make it. And use our heavy knot. To pull that through. Pulls that down into the centre between the two ropes, and then you can proceed to nip that off. Push those ends down in there if you wish. And then you have your three types of seizings: racking, round and flat.